to the state. They want to focus more resources like bomb-sniffing canines at the entry points to the islands. The governor also started the news conference by praising the efforts of emergency responders the night of the deadly explosion. He also expressed gratitude for military partners who transported 6 of the survivors to a burn center in Arizona for further treatment. Governor Green says he's open to ideas, but is hoping this incident was a wake-up call for change in society.
We'll do anything that we can. Any ideas that people come up with, we'd be happy to entertain. We believe that if we have more public fireworks shows and include society more, maybe it will damp it down a little bit. But we've also heard from people saying in just the day after we lost loved ones, that they still intended to have big fireworks shows in their communities. And I just tell you, I don't think you should do it. I really don't think you should do it because it will not be safe.
Over the weekend, authorities also held a fireworks amnesty program at Aloha Stadium. They said that event brought in over 1,300 pounds of fireworks from 121 different residents. To put that into perspective, around 515 pounds of fireworks were collected during last year's Take Back program. The governor said he is open to a wide range of ideas and that he is even open to working with community members who are passionate about pyrotechnics but wants to find a way to do it safely and with proper supervision and guidance. Dylan and Cheta, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you so much, Dylan. The potential strike for nurses at Queens Medical Center is off. Nearly 2,000 nurses were set to walk off the job at 7 this morning, but we're told a tentative 3-year agreement was reached at 1 a.m. The deal will need to be voted on by the nurses. Queens released a statement saying, quote, "We worked respectfully and diligently toward reaching an agreement that both the Queens Medical Center and our nurses can be proud of and support. Meantime, we are expecting a response from the nurses union later today." The death toll from the California wildfires is now up to 24 people as the Los Angeles area braces for more heavy winds. Officials say 92,000 people in Los Angeles County are under evacuation orders. Laura Hafley has the latest developments.
Firefighters from Napa joined the battle in Southern California, helping hose down a house engulfed in flames from the Palisades fire Sunday. An estimated 75% of the Pacific Palisades is wiped out. Only scorched earth remains, and with red flag warnings up through Wednesday, officials say high winds combined with low levels of humidity will keep the fire threat in all of Los Angeles County critical.
We are not in the clear as of yet, and we must not let our guard down.
And city officials say they've strategically positioned engine strike teams and task forces to respond rapidly to any new fire that breaks out. As crews continue to tackle hotspots, authorities say more than 24 people are missing, the majority in the Eaton fire area. The sheriff's department is asking residents for their patience as they search for victims.
People are saying, I just want to go look at my house and I want to see what's left. We know that. But we have people literally looking for the remains of your neighbors.
In hard-hit Altadena, one resident came back to find his home of 40 years survived.
And after 40 years, you know, you got a lot of stuff you forget about that would disappear if the house burned down. So we're thankful that it didn't.
At the Pasadena Convention Center, which is serving as a shelter, FEMA workers helped survivors register for assistance.
I'm sure it hasn't been an easy time, but, you know, I'm glad you're here, right?
And even though evacuations are still keeping some schools closed, Los Angeles Unified School District reopened most schools Monday. Laura Hafley, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Meantime, thousands of homes have been lost to the inferno around Los Angeles, and many have been displaced. Governor Josh Green is floating an idea that could bring some of those fire victims to Hawaii to ease the pressure on resources in California. Governor Green says Hawaii has around 25,000 hotel rooms statewide. He says thousands of those rooms are empty and could be used to house displaced fire survivors. Green says California has sent help when Hawaii has encountered natural disasters and believes we can help in our own way.
We have 25,000 hotel rooms in Hawaii, so 20% would be 5,000. If they are vacant and we can take the pressure off of California, it will not affect our housing inventory, our long-term housing inventory. And if those vacancies can be used at a very affordable price, maybe we can help people get through this crisis.
The Hawaii Tourism Authority confirms they have been in talks with the governor about this proposal, but as the governor himself says, so far it's just a possibility. Wednesday marks the start of the 2025 state legislative session. Annalisa Burgos has more on what lawmakers say they'll be focusing on.
Bills focused on adding affordable housing and lowering the cost of living remain top priorities this session, with new concerns about skyrocketing costs of condo and homeowner insurance.
We know that so many folks have been hit so hard from their rising premiums. So I think the legislature is going to investigate setting up some sort of a stabilization fund. This, of course, is a very complex issue, but I do expect them to get started on that.
H&N political analyst Colin Moore expects lawmakers to also push for workforce housing programs to help stem an exodus of Hawaii workers. A recent Aloha United Way report shows 41% of Hawaii residents are barely scraping by, and 37% are thinking of moving. Returning this session, proposals to charge tourists a green fee and efforts to legalize recreational marijuana. In light of the fatal New Year's fireworks explosion, lawmakers will want to increase enforcement and penalties for illegal fireworks. Moore says Kauai Representative Nadine Nakamura will have her work cut out for her in her first year as House Speaker.
I expect her to really focus on housing, and particularly housing for those ALICE families, people who fall between really the programs that support low-income families and wealthier folks. She also will have a little bit of a challenge balancing, I think, all of the different interests in the House. In this last election, there were a number of very strong progressives elected, as well as more Republicans. So the House has become a little more polarized, and I think that's going to be a challenge for the Speaker.
Polarization on the national level could also pose challenges to the state under the incoming Trump administration.
First, Hawaii might take a strong stand against some of the Trump administration planned restrictions on immigration, on reproductive rights, but also they're already planning for potentially reduced federal support for programs like Medicaid or even the federal education grants that our schools depend on.
Finally, the continued rebuilding efforts on Maui will remain a priority.
There's a number of lingering legal questions about the $4 billion proposed settlement. That's at the Supreme Court right now. And so the state has pledged $800 million to support that settlement. If that changes, and if depending on how the court rules, that could change the dynamic of the legislature.
The 2025 legislative session opens Wednesday at 10 a.m. at the state capitol. Annalisa Burgos, Hawaii News Now.
One of the cargo pilots who died in a plane crash near Honolulu's airport last month was remembered over the weekend. Services were held for Hiram DeFreeze Saranitman at Punahou School on Saturday. He is from the class of 2020. Hundreds of people came to the gathering, including his Punahou classmates and football teammates who wore black and white palaka shirts. One of his favorite teachers made the connection between his Hawaiian background and his goal of being a pilot.
He carries kuleana from his family, kuleana to his communities, and that sense of kuleana doesn't leave you. It guides you, and it sort of guides the path that you walk. And so I have to believe that flying, is something that he did because of a kuleana, and he knew that he was, a part of this lifeline that was the rural communities.
There were photos of Hiram along with other memorials to his life. DeFreeze Saranitman died when his Kamaka Air cargo plane crashed on December 17th. It also claimed the life of instructor pilot Preston Kaluhiva.
We just honor the memory of Jeffrey Fiala, who paid the ultimate sacrifice, protecting the public, not only him, but his partners that were injured.
Firefighters on Hawaii Island came together to pay tribute to Jeffrey Fiala, the 25-year-old Honolulu firefighter who was killed last Monday night when responding to a 3-alarm blaze in Macaulay. First responders filled the Hilo soccer field for a memorial workout to honor and remember the sacrifice Fiala gave to his community. And a GoFundMe page has been created to help support Fiala's wife and his family in the wake of his death. The fundraiser says Fiala met his wife Fiona on their freshman move-in day at UH Manoa. The pair got married 6 years later in 2023. Fiala is described as being a loving and supportive husband, son, brother, and friend. Look for the link to help his family on our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. Maui's Wai'ehu Golf Course was temporarily shut down over the weekend after the discovery of what appeared to be a grenade. No word on exactly where the ordnance was found Saturday. The course later reopened after the bomb squad determined the grenade did not contain explosives.
How's it on this Monday? From Maui to Kauai, we're not going to see much rain at all today. However, there's the disturbance bringing in a fair bit of rain for those windward and Mauka areas of Hawaii Island. There could see a pretty wet day today for those windward areas, maybe even some isolated thunderstorms. So heads up, be aware of that. Now, for the rest of the state, we'll have a standard trading weather day, a few showers for windward areas this morning, and lots of afternoon leeward sunshine.
Thank you, Guy. President-elect Trump's inauguration is just a week away, and security agencies in D.C. are making plans to keep everyone safe. When Mr. Trump and Vice President-elect Vance take the oath of office in front of the Capitol, more than 30 miles of anti-scale fencing will be in place, and thousands of National Guard troops will be on duty to back up the Secret Service, who is in charge of this vast security operation. Meanwhile, the president-elect team is racing to try and get his cabinet in place, but first they must go through Congress. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with a preview of the confirmation hearings scheduled this week.
For weeks, senators have been meeting privately with a number of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks, but now they will have a chance to grill them about their records in public. More than a dozen of Trump's selections to run the nation's top agencies will take the hot seat in coming days during Senate confirmation hearings starting Tuesday. That includes Trump's controversial pick to run the Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth, a former Fox News host who faces allegations of sexual misconduct, excessive drinking, and financial mismanagement while leading a veterans advocacy group. Hegseth has denied the accusations and underwent an FBI background check. The findings were shared with the top two members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, but some Democratic senators want them to be shared more widely with lawmakers given their concerns about Hegseth. Meanwhile, a group of Navy SEALs and veterans who support his nomination are traveling to Washington, D.C. to rally around him ahead of the confirmation hearing tomorrow. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And President Biden delivered his final foreign policy address today at the State Department. He received a long period of applause as he entered the Ben Franklin Room, accompanied by Secretary of State Antony Blinken. His speech focused on his administration's success with its foreign policy agenda and their work in strengthening America's standing in the world.
Today, I can report to the American people our sources of national power are far stronger than we were when we took office. Our economy is booming, although there's more work to do. My administration is leaving the next administration with a very strong hand to play. And we're leaving them in America with more friends and stronger alliances, whose adversaries are weaker and under pressure. An America that once again is leading, uniting countries, setting the agenda, bringing others together behind our plans and visions.
President Biden also laid out the challenges ahead for the incoming Trump administration, which will have to deal with a chaotic Middle East, Russia's nearly 3-year war on Ukraine, and a tenuous situation in the Red Sea. Well, ahead on This Is Now, Japan's meteorological agency withdraws a tsunami advisory after a 6.9 magnitude earthquake rocks the island of Kyushu. Plus, an emotional reunion between a man and his dog who was missing for 5 days in the Palisades fire in Los Angeles. earthquake hit Japan's coast this morning. The 6.9 magnitude quake happened at around 9:19 p.m. local time. It was centered off southwestern Japan near the island of Kyushu. Now, while a tsunami advisory was issued for some Japanese coasts, there is currently no threat here in Hawaii. Let's take you live to the Big Island. Kilauea's alert is holding steady at orange, which means it's a watch. The summit eruption that began on December 23rd. I'm sorry, you're looking at Waimea Bay on Oahu's North Shore. We will get that camera for you ready and bring it to you later in this newscast if it's possible. Now, with all the heartbreak surrounding the Los Angeles wildfires, an emotional reunion between a man and his dog in the Pacific Palisades area is bringing some hope. Casey Colvin, who lost his home in the blaze, came back to his neighborhood on Sunday to find his dog Oreo hiding amongst the burned rubble. Colvin was overjoyed to find Oreo still alive after 5 long days. The incredible reunion, of course, is going viral. The world's largest tech show, CES, wrapped up over the weekend. Andres Gutierrez was there and takes a look at the latest in robot technology.
Good morning, Aria. Tell us about yourself.
Good morning. I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics, designed for fun and engaging interactions.
Aria is a lifelike robot that doesn't walk but does make human motions and uses AI to answer questions, a bit like Siri or Alexa. Aria, what are your hobbies?
I enjoy exploring new technologies.
But she doesn't always have an answer.
I currently don't have the correct information to answer that question.
Aria and a similar robot named Melody are the creation of Realbotics. Andrew Kegel is the CEO.
That they have this AI that has a memory and a vision, so they'll be able to recognize you, remember your prior conversations, and have a personal interaction bond with you.
Companion robots are becoming popular and often look like a cartoon character or an animal, like this dog marketed as an emotional support robot. The Japanese company behind this one is called Romi and is designed to be a friend you can have a conversation with. Bali from Samsung promises to be a personal assistant that can act as your eyes and ears at home when you're away. And robots are expected to improve thanks to a new open source platform from NVIDIA called Cosmos.
For reinforcement learning AI feedback.
How's that going to be a game changer for them?
One of the big hurdles is getting these humanoid robots to be a little more smooth. So the concept with NVIDIA is, what if we put them in a virtual simulation where they can learn how to operate in our world smoothly before actually bringing them into our world?
Those advancements could help bring down development costs. Right now, Aria sells for $150,000, a steep price for a personal robot. Andres Gutierrez,
CBS News, Las Vegas.
Before we go to break, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Guy Hagi is going to explain what it all means in 2 minutes.
how's it on this Monday? We've got some pretty nice conditions for the rest of the week, actually. From Kauai to Maui, it's going to be pretty nice today with a few wind and Mauka showers. However, there is the disturbance near Hawaii Island. They're going to get some spotty downpours, maybe even a few isolated thunderstorms today for Hawaii Island, especially those windward areas. You can see those spotty downpours right now coming in to that Puna Pahoa area. Drier on the other side of the island, although they could get some isolated showers late in the day for the Kona side. And those winds will be running pretty firm today, 10 to 20 miles an hour, so it's going to feel quite comfortable, especially from Maui to Kauai. And again, it's going to be a little bit wet for Hawaii Island, especially for those windward areas, and they could even get some isolated thunderstorms, while the rest of us enjoy a standard trading weather day. It's the best weather on the planet. As far as the surf, it's going to be rising this afternoon to high surf advisory levels for north and west shore. It's going to be big and dangerous. An even bigger swell is due in between Thursday and Friday of this week, so heads up on that. So we've got a pretty nice run of weather, but remember, it's going to be pretty wet for Hawaii Island today. We'll see fair conditions through Thursday, but heads up, the winds will be lightening up starting Wednesday. And when those winds lighten up, it's going to be a little bit sticky with some afternoon pop-up showers. And there is another front in the forecast models hinting that it's going to come in and make Friday cloudy and wet. There could even be some heavy downpours. So heads up for Friday. And then as we head towards the weekend, things are expected to dry up with lots and lots of sunshine for Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you, Guy. Well, no pants, no problem. When we come back, a look at a silly winter tradition in London for today's Good News Now. Some good news now. Caught on camera, a horse rescue in Brazil off the coast of Sao Paulo. Now, the horse was on the roof of a house that had been flooded by rains. The animal's owner had placed it on the roof of the house to protect it from the force of the flooding water. Now, using a cement ladder to get the horse onto the roof, firefighters were able to use a crane to bring the horse back to ground and back to safety. Arby's knows the word healthy may not come to mind when you think about its menu, but the company is having some fun with the idea as many people make New Year's resolutions to eat better. The New Year Same You menu renames classic offerings as healthy alternatives. So curly fries are listed as steamed vegetables, and the double beef and cheddar sandwich is called salad with dressing. The company says the new menu takes the pressure off of those held accountable by family and friends for keeping their goals while offering a cheat day. And a stark sight in London over the weekend as people stripped down to their skivvies for what they call the No Trousers Tube Ride. About 200 people took part in the event, displaying their finest boxer shorts and lacy underthings in an event that's become so popular in other large city subways like New York. The trend actually started there back in 2002. It's meant to bring laughs in the middle of winter when people would otherwise be bundled up. A lot of tourists are very confused about what's happening there on that subway. All right, we're going to leave you with what we're going to say goodbye here on This Is Now. More headlines coming up.